Hello Year 2, happy Friday and welcome to Friday's maths lesson. I'm just going to share my screen and we'll get going. Okay, here we are. So as you can see on the board, there is a pictogram related to your learning from last lesson. Just as a bit of a starter to warm us up, I would like you to have a look at this pictogram, okay? So Mo has drawn this pictogram. What mistakes has he made? How could it be improved? So just like your challenge X from your learning yesterday, very, very similar, I want you to have a look at the mistakes that Mo has made and how could his pictogram be improved. And think of at least 2 things he could do to improve this pictogram, and we'll share in a moment. Okay, so I've thought of a few things of how Mo could improve his pictogram. So one thing he could do is Mo needs to make sure he is using the same symbol for every category because at the moment he's using blue circles, then pink circles, and then yellow squares. There is no key, and the symbols need to be the same size and the same colour as well. Okay, so it's all about those symbols and making sure he has that key so we know what the symbol should be. Okay, so let's have a little think about your learning from last lesson then. What did we learn to do last lesson? And have a little think, what is a pictogram? Can you remember what a pictogram is? Okay, so last lesson we were looking at pictograms and you were learning to draw your own pictograms. So today we're going to be continuing with our learning on pictograms. So before we look at our learning intention for today, I'd like you to think about what is a pictogram and let's share that together. So a pictogram is a chart that uses pictures to represent data. Pictograms are set out in the same way as bar charts, but instead of bars, they use columns of pictures to show the numbers. And again, we learned yesterday that often the data that's collected in a tally chart is then used to create or to draw a pictogram. Okay, so today you're going to be learning to interpret pictograms. You may be wondering what this word means. Okay, pause the video now and just have a think about what do you think that word interpret might mean? Okay, so interpret means to understand something. So we are learning to understand what a pictogram is representing. There's going to be some questions about each of the pictograms we're looking at. Okay, and we're going to be answering those questions about different pictograms. Okay, so let's begin with our first pictogram then. So here we go, we've got a pictogram here. Now, first of all, I'd like you to just look carefully at this pictogram and think about what is this pictogram showing us, okay? What information has been collected here? And before I ask you some questions about it, what can you find out about this pictogram? Okay, what can you find out from this pictogram here? Okay, so first of all, let's start off with what is this pictogram showing us? So here is a pictogram to show class 5's favourite t-shirts. Now, often on a pictogram, pictograms have titles. Okay, so it's a title to tell us what information the pictogram has collected, what the pictogram is showing us. So this would be the title here. Here is a pictogram to show class 5's favourite t-shirts. Okay, now I'll be really interested to see what information you have been able to find out from this pictogram. Maybe you've used the key to think about how many children in total found blue was their favourite t-shirt. How many children found green was their favourite? And tried to find the totals that way. Okay, so I've just got 4 questions which we're going to go through slowly now. I'll read them all out to you and then you can take some time to pause the screen and have a go at answering each of them in full sentences. So the first question is, what is the most popular colour t-shirt? So which one is the most popular means which one has the highest number, the highest total. then what colour is the least popular? So which one has the lowest number, the lowest total? How many more children chose blue t-shirts than red? So just that question we had yesterday. How many more children chose blue than red? And finally, how many children are in class 5? I wonder how you'd work out that question, finding out how many children there are in class 5. Okay, so for that question, you need to count the total of the t-shirts all together, because all of these t-shirts showing all of the separate children in class 5. So you need to add up all of the totals to find out how many children there are in class 5. Okay, so I'd like you to just pause the video here. There's no need to write down the questions or write down the answers. You can just have a go at saying them. So for example, the first one, the most popular colour t-shirt is, and then finish that sentence off. So have a go at each of those questions. You may want to do a bit of working out on your paper to help you with those last 2 questions there. Okay, but take your time going through them and come back and join me when you have completed those questions. Okay, so let's go through those answers to those questions now. So the most popular colour t-shirt is the blue t-shirt. The least popular colour t-shirt is the green t-shirt. 4 more children chose blue t-shirts than red. There's blue t-shirts, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And red t-shirts, there was 1, 2, 3, 4. So 8 subtract 4 equals 4. And then there are 21 children in class 5. Okay, so well done if that was the total that you found as well. Okay, so moving on to our next pictogram then. Okay, we've got another pictogram. We can see this category heading here, which may give you a big clue. So first of all, what is this pictogram showing us? Okay, so this is a pictogram to show mini beasts collected by class 5. So all of the mini beasts they were able to find and collect. Okay, so we've got 3 sentences here to show the number of mini beasts collected. So the first sentence is there are blank ladybirds. So using the key, you'll need to count the total of the ladybirds. There are blank centipedes and worms all together. So look really carefully there. It's asking you how many centipedes and worms. And then there are blank more worms than centipedes. You need to find out how many more worms there are than centipedes. So again, we need that subtraction number sentence, subtracting the centipedes from the worms. Okay, so those are your 3 sentences to answer there. And then finally, as your challenge X, I'd like you to think about what else does the pictogram tell us? Maybe you can try and think of your own question, just like the questions we had on our previous slide here. Okay, it may be a question similar to one of these questions. Okay, so try and think of your own question that you could either answer or you could maybe get somebody in your household to answer. Okay, let's go through those sentences now. Hopefully you've had some time to go through and answer each of those sentences and to try and think of your own question. Okay, so there are 6 ladybirds. There are 7 centipedes and worms altogether. There are 3 more worms than centipedes. Okay, and some more information that I found from this pictogram. I found out that woodhouse were the most found mini beast, were the most popular mini beast that they found, and centipede were the least found mini beast. Okay, so those are just a couple of little extra facts that I was able to find out from this pictogram. We have one final pictogram to look at now before you start your main activity. So this pictogram is showing us what some teachers had for their school lunch. And you can see on the key here, the plate is the symbol, again a nice easy symbol. and 1 plate represents 1 lunch. So 3 questions to answer, and it's up to you whether you'd like to write out the answers on a piece of paper or whether you just like to say them out loud. But I want you to, whether you're writing the answers, whether you're saying the answers, I'd like you to answer each question in a full sentence, just like we do when we do our reading skills. So the first question is, which lunch did the most teachers have? Second question is, which lunch did the least teachers have? And the final question is, how many teachers had chicken? Okay, so 3 questions there. Pause the video now, take your time to go through each of those questions and come back with me when you're ready for the answers. Okay, let's go through the answers to those questions together. So I'm looking at my full sentences here. So most teachers had a spaghetti, least teachers had chicken, and none of the teachers had the chicken because there were no plates there, which shows none of the teachers chose the chicken option. Okay, so let's move on to see what your main task is going to be. So for your challenge, you have got 2 different pictograms. Now you can either keep this screen on keep the screen paused so you can use the pictograms to help you answer each question, or I have attached on Teams, or I will attach on Teams, a Word document which has got these 2 pictograms on it and these questions written underneath. You have the choice of whether you'd like to type the answer onto the computer, or whether you would like to print it off, or whether you would like to just write out the answers on your piece of paper. It's totally your choice. One with animals. So the questions are, what is the most common pet? How many pets are there in total? How many more cats than hamsters are there? How many fewer fish than dogs are there? Okay, so we look at the fish, we look at the dogs, and we look at, it's exactly the same sort of question as the how many more, but it's just worded it the other way around. How many fewer fish than dogs? Okay, so that would be for your animal pictogram. And then finally, for the other one, questions are, what is the most popular colour? How many more children chose yellow than blue? How many children chose red and pink all together? And which 2 colours had the same number of children who voted for them? So 2 of the colours have the same number of circles. Try and find those 2 colours. Okay, so again, please make sure you're answering these questions in full sentences. Again, there is 2 different sheets that I'm going to be uploading. One sheet with the questions and a blank underneath, and another sheet with the question and the sentence starter written out for you. So if you're finding it a bit tricky to try and remember the start of the sentence to make sure you're using a full sentence, have a look on there and that will help you. Okay, so that is your main challenge for today, answering some questions about 2 different pictograms. So there is a challenge X if you'd like to stretch yourself further. I'm just going to read you out the challenge X now. Teddy writes these statements about his pictogram. So Teddy's drawn a pictogram, but he's writing these statements about it. There were more cows than sheep. There were the same number of sheep and horses. There were more chickens than any other animal. There were less cows than goats, and there were 8 goats. So using those statements, I'd like you to have a go at drawing a pictogram. Okay, so that's quite a tricky challenge for you today. Okay, so you're going to need to make sure you use your ruler to draw out your pictogram. Okay, and you make sure you have your headings. So your first heading might be animal, and then your middle section won't have a heading, and then your last column might have the heading of total. And go through and look at what you know first. So the first statement, which will be the easiest one for you, is there were 8 goats. Okay, so we know we need to choose our symbol, but we know we're going to have 8 of the symbol next to goat. Then I think it would be a good idea to go through and just look at the animals that you need to write into your pictogram. So we have cows. Okay, you have cows, you have sheep, you have horses, you have chickens, so cows, sheep, horses, chickens, and goats. Okay, so you've got 5 different animals there. Okay, so those are the headings that you'll need for your pictogram. Then start off with the goats and then go through each one. There were more cows than sheep. Okay, so if you have 3 sheep, then you're going to need to have 4 cows. Okay, so just have a little go. If you use your pencil, then you can always rub it out if you make a mistake and have another little go. Okay, have a go pausing the video now just to have a go at drawing your pictogram. I have got an example pictogram I'm going to share with you in a moment, but your pictogram may look very, very different from my one. Okay then, you could also challenge yourself if you haven't already. Try and give your pictogram a title. What title do you think you might give it? Okay, so the title of my pictogram is Pictogram to show the number of animals spotted at the farm. Again, your title may be very different than mine. So my pictogram has been drawn vertically, but yours might be drawn horizontally. That's okay. So I've got my chickens, cows, sheep, goats, and horses. And you can see my 8 goats there. Then I've got my chickens, my cows, my sheep, and my horses. As you can see, I've got the same number of sheep and horses. There are more cows than sheep. Yeah, I can see there's 6 cows, only 3 sheep. There are more chickens than any other animal. As you can see there, the amount of chickens is all the way up to the top. There are less cows than goats. Yeah, you can see that. There's 8 goats, but 6 cows. And then there are 8 goats. Okay, so I've ticked off all of those statements. Again, you may have a different number of chickens, for example, to my number of chickens. Okay, hopefully you've enjoyed having a go with that challenge X, even though it was a real challenge for you. Finally then, for our fluency number sentence, I'd like you to try and find the difference between 59 and 32. Okay, you can choose whether you want to count on from 32 until you get to 59, whether you want to count back from 59 to 32. You may want to draw a picture to help you with this. You might want to draw your base 10. You may want to draw a number line to help you. Okay, so I've written a subtraction number sentence to help me here. But my subtraction number sentence is 59 subtract 32, and my answer is 27. Okay, you may have answered that in a different way. So a huge well done for your maths lesson today, Year 2. I hope you've enjoyed learning to interpret pictograms today, and I hope you enjoy carrying out your challenge. Have a really wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you this afternoon for science. Bye for now.